If you like to travel, and especially if you like to travel for a long period of time, and especially if you have traveled to places in which they speak a language that you're trying to learn, I think you can relate to this feeling. Every time I've traveled to a place, particularly where they speak Spanish, and since I'm someone that's trying to learn Spanish, I'm trying to communicate with the local people, I always just get this sense when I come back to the US of how much we take for granted, how easy it is for us to communicate in our home country, in our home language. So what do I mean by that? Well, I was recently in Mexico for 2 months, I think it was, and I'm trying to learn Spanish. So every time that I went out my door and walked down the street, I just felt like I was putting in work. Like I was trying to think in Spanish. I was trying to remind myself of how to say certain words. Before I went into a store to buy fruits or vegetables or something, I would try to tell myself the common phrases that I'll probably come across, and I would put myself in Spanish speaking mode, right? And everything just felt like work. And I love it. That's the reason I went to Mexico. That's one of the things I love about travel, is it's very different and it forces you to kind of get outside your comfort zone and to work for things. But then when I come back to the US, even though I've done this dozens of times, it's always just so amazing how I can go into a convenience store, I can go into a grocery store and suddenly just be reminded of this confidence that I have, where I know that I could bump into anybody in the grocery store. I could go up to the cashier, I could ask somebody stocking the shelves for help, and I just have this comfort of knowing that I am completely equipped to handle that social interaction. I could ask for anything that I want. I could start a conversation about how our days are going. I could even decide if I want to sound more formal or more informal, depending on who I'm speaking to. I can change the way that I'm saying my sentences and everything, right? And I don't know if that sounds lame, but every time I've traveled abroad, especially if it's for a longer period of time, and then come back home, it always just hits me just how much we take for granted the skill and ease with which we can communicate in our native language.